She pointed and laughed as he picked up trash with trembling hands. But the moment he stood still, faced the flag, and raised his hand in salute, her laughter died in her throat. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more powerful stories. From which country are you watching my video, as I can see where my video is being watched? It was a warm Sunday afternoon in Willow Creek Park. Families played frisbee under the sun, kids chased each other near the swings, and old couples sat on benches feeding birds. The park was alive with laughter and music. Amid all this life and noise, a man in an old brown jacket and scuffed boots walked slowly across the grass, pushing a rusted cart filled with garbage bags. His hands were calloused, and his face, though kind, was weathered with age and experience. A name tag pinned to his chest read Joe. Joe had been working as the park cleaner for almost 2 years. He came in before dawn and stayed until sunset. No one knew much about him. He rarely spoke, he never complained. He simply cleaned, bending, lifting, sweeping, like the park was a sacred place. That day, sitting under the big oak tree with her friends, was a teenage girl named Emma, 17. Popular and always glued to her phone, Emma believed the world revolved around followers, filters, and fun. She had just hit 20,000 followers on her short video account and was always on the lookout for her next viral moment. When she saw Joe walking past, dragging a full trash bag behind him, she grinned and nudged her friend Mia. "Watch this," she said, switching on her camera. She called out loud enough for others nearby to hear. "Hey, mister, you missed a spot." Joe turned, nodded politely, and continued his work without saying a word. Emma wasn't done. She stood up, still filming, and walked closer. "Hey, you get paid to pick up trash, right? Shouldn't you be faster, or do you charge by the hour for being slow?" A few teens nearby snickered. Joe simply smiled faintly and kept moving. He picked up a crumpled soda can, placed it in his bag, and adjusted his cap. Emma rolled her eyes. "God, so slow. My grandpa moves faster and he's got a bad hip." Mia chuckled nervously. "Emma, maybe leave him alone." But Emma was already posting the clip with a laughing emoji and the caption, "This dude's been cleaning the park since the dinosaurs." She was just about to film more when something strange happened. Joe stopped suddenly in the middle of the path. He stood tall, straighter than any old man Emma had ever seen. His back was stiff, his chin raised. His hand moved slowly but deliberately to his forehead in a salute. Emma followed his gaze. It was 5 p.m. At the far end of the park, near the entrance gate, stood a tall silver flagpole. Every evening at 5 sharp, the American flag was lowered for the day. A small speaker on the pole began to play the national anthem. People around paused. Parents hushed their children. A jogger slowed his run. And Joe? Joe stood like a statue, saluting the flag with perfect form, his eyes glistening as the stars and stripes were lowered inch by inch. Emma lowered her phone. Something about Joe's posture, his silence, his salute, felt different. This wasn't for show. This was real, deep, emotional. When the anthem ended and the flag was folded neatly by the park staff, Joe let out a slow breath, lowered his hand, and gently whispered something no one could hear. Then, without looking at anyone, he continued, picking up trash. Emma stood frozen. The next day Emma returned to the park, but this time she didn't come to mock. She didn't even bring her phone. She sat alone near the bench closest to Joe's usual path. Around 4:30 p.m. he arrived like clockwork. She watched him work, carefully, patiently. She noticed how he picked up even the tiniest candy wrappers kids had dropped near the slide, how he paused to fix a broken swing, how he placed a flower near the park's memorial stone that read, "In honor of those who served." When he finally came near her, she stood up and said quietly, "Hi. Joe, right?" Joe paused, slightly surprised. "I just wanted to say, I was really rude yesterday, and I'm sorry." Joe looked at her gently and said, "It's all right. Most people don't understand what they're laughing at." Emma hesitated. Why do you salute the flag every evening?" Joe looked toward the pole, now still, the flag neatly rolled for the next morning. "Old habit. Can't unlearn respect, no matter how many years pass." Emma sat back down. Joe joined her on the nearby bench. For the first time in 2 years, he spoke more than a sentence. "I served in the Marines. 23 years, 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. I lost friends, saw things no one should see. But I came back, and I promised myself, if I ever got home alive, I'd spend the rest of my days honoring the things they gave up theirs for. That flag is one of them." Emma listened, silent. No camera, no jokes, just understanding. Joe continued, "Cleaning this park, it's not just a job. It's peace. It's my way of keeping things clean in a world that often isn't." The next weekend, Emma returned, with gloves and trash bags. When Joe saw her, he smiled and asked, "You sure you want to do this? It's not glamorous." Emma nodded. "I think I need to." Word spread fast. A few other teens joined, not for views, not for fame, but because something had shifted. Emma's post had been taken down, replaced by a new one. It wasn't a joke. It was a video of Joe's salute, followed by Emma's voiceover. "This is Joe. A Marine, a hero, a man we walk past every day and don't see. I used to laugh. Now I listen. Thank you, Joe, for your service and for teaching me what respect really means." That video didn't get millions of likes, but it changed her world, and were her followers. The mayor heard about it. The local news covered it. Joe was awarded a certificate of honor at a small-town ceremony, but Joe didn't care about any of that. What mattered to him was the kids now picking up trash without being asked. The way people stood still when the flag was lowered. The way Emma waved at him each morning with a smile that held no sarcasm, just gratitude. One day, as Joe finished his shift, he found a small wooden box resting on the bench under the big oak tree. Inside, it was a medal, the same kind he'd earned in service but had lost during a house fire years ago. Taped to the inside of the lid was a handwritten note. "For the man who never stopped serving, even when no one was watching." And underneath, it, signed in careful handwriting. "Emma," Joe sat down, holding the box close. No words, just a tear that slid down a cheek hardened by time and softened by kindness. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They wear gloves and carry trash bags. And sometimes the ones who mock them become the ones who salute them.